Almost. Hello, everyone. This is Andrew Berman from NMP TV. Thank you for joining us for another Mortgage Leadership Outlook, where we go live with every week with the greatest leaders of the mortgage business. I am so excited to have to you superstar originator, legendary mortgage broker, Thuan Nguyen, who is the CEO of Loan Factory and the number one loan originator in the entire country. Thuan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Andrew.
So it is a pleasure to have actually met your acquaintance. Many years ago, another superstar originator kind of connected us. Shashank was gracious enough to connect us. But man, it is phenomenal. So listen, before I've got a bunch of questions. I want to know how you do this production, but let's give me the latest numbers. Tell us, what does the last 12 months look like for your production?
So last year, I barely broke $2 billion. This year, I expect it to be $2.5 billion. That is for this year, expected.
Wow. Okay, so $2.5 billion. And how many units is that?
Last year is about 5,000. So this year is a little bit more than that. So it might be 5,500 units. That is the expected for this year.
Okay, so can you talk about actually, I want to learn about how you got into the business, but let's get everyone excited to understand actually the operations, because I know you're very big on tech and very big focus on being actually competitive when it comes to pricing. But talk about the team that it takes to get and how many loans again for last year?
5,000 loans.
5,000 loans with 2.2 billion.
Yes, it's about 10,000 loan for the entire company. My own production is more than half. So that is what we accomplished last year. And I bet like last year, everyone run into the processing problem. No one can handle the volume because everyone refinancing last year, right? So lucky for me that I have the technology. I invested in the technology, and that allowed me to change the way we process loans. Conventionally, when we have a loan, we have a processor handle the loan from A to Z, right? But we hit the bottleneck. That person worked 12 hours, 14 hours a day, and still cannot handle more loans. And customer, when they call and they say, Thuan, what happened to my loan? I submitted 2 days. You haven't touched it. And I got mad. I got upset. I said, what happened? We need to have a way to solve the problem, right? And I bet back then, everyone had the same problem. You cannot handle more loans. So we changed our process. We follow the assembly line model. So with the assembly line model, we can handle a lot more loans. And as soon as we switch to the assembly line model, we are able to hire a lot more processor. We are able to move loan really fast and close loan fast.
So how big is your team? The team that did the 5,000 loans, the $2.2 billion, how big is that team? Because I know big, heavy reliance on technology, but like how many people do you have to hire to be able to just maintain actually that kind of level of production?
That level of production is my own production. We have all the LO within the company. So in all together, last year we closed about 10,000 transactions, and so we have over 100 processor handle it. Over 100 processor, yeah. It's a big operation.
100 processors to be able to do that kind of volume. That's phenomenal. So and now, like, and how much interaction do you have on loans? I mean, is it like, are you interacting on 1/4 of the loans? I mean, I'm sure some of the people like, hey, listen, I'm an old buddy of Thuan, I want to talk to him.
That is true. We are in the service business, right? And the consumer, they want to talk to someone that good, that can give them advice, what to do, and explain to them. And some consumer, they want trust. They don't trust the company. They don't trust, it's a new company, a mortgage company, and there are so many mortgage companies out there. So they want to talk to someone that so that they can trust. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult to handle 5,000 clients. Actually, and I probably talk less than a quarter. I would have to admit that. But I have a system in place that do the talking for me. I have a system in place that the consumer can go there and check the rate. Instead of calling me and ask for the rate, they can go to my website and check for the rate. And then they can fill out application, they can apply there. And when they finish the application, we create a rate alert for them. So instead of have to talk to the consumer every day to update them the rate, our system email them the rate every day. And if they like the rate, they click on the button and request us to lock for them. So the website, the system do all of the talking and make everything transparent, explain everything to the borrower. I switched the model. Actually, we let the consumer do everything. With technology, we allow the consumer to do everything. They check the rate, they apply, they upload documents, they monitor the rate, they request us to lock the rate. Everything can be done by the consumer. So we let them do everything. We do the monitoring. We don't do anything. Let them do everything. And that with that model, I am able to close 5,000 loans myself last year. And this year, we will break that numbers as well.
That's phenomenal. And listen, I mean, and by the way, you having any kind of contact with even 1/4 of that, it's still actually over 1,000 loans and still actually phenomenal. But to hear actually, you've built this phenomenal system to be able to handle this kind of volume and almost like, it's almost like you're replicating a lot of the repetitive tasks that a loan officer would potentially do, like just asking basic update questions using technology. So listen, and I want to get into a little bit more understanding the assembly line process and how it differs from a regular process. But, let's take us to day one. Like, how did you get into the mortgage business?
I bought a home and the loan officer helped me. She didn't do much, but she made so much money. So I figured out I could do the same thing. And I basically quit my job, stay home, study for the exam and pass the exam. So I become a broker myself. I didn't have any experience. I didn't have any clients. Computer. I am a software engineer. I was a software engineer. Yeah.
So you were a software engineer, and you just said, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to become a mortgage broker because you were unhappy with the process.
Exactly. I just did. I just become a broker without anyone show me how to do things. I had to learn everything myself. I have no mentor, no experience, no clients. I even have to call the rep and say, hey, what is TBD? What is TBF? I didn't know anything. And I learned everything myself. And I get improved every day. I keep improve every day. Using technology, I learn every day. And that's how I get here after 16 years.
Wow. So 16 years ago, you had nothing to do with the mortgage business. You were in the tech world. You said, I'm quitting actually the tech world because I'm unhappy with the process that I just went through to buy a home. And you created actually, this mortgage company and have been working on kind of perfecting that process. So now, when did you realize that, hey, I have something here. I think I could do some major, make a major impact on the mortgage business. Like, when did that click? I can't imagine, you did your first application and you say, okay, wow, I'm going to do 5,000 loans a year.
So what happened is I love helping people. I love helping the consumer. And a lot of consumer, when they come to me, they say, hey, can you help me? I help them, right? But then eventually they say, I'm buying a house in Texas. I'm buying a house in Florida. Can you help me? I figure out, I was not ready back then. But the last 2 years, I was ready, and I say, hey, let's expand. So I roll my company. Now we have license in 40 states, and we are able to help a lot more customers now, and that's how it works. I mean, I'm not afraid of anything. I invest in technology. I invest in myself. I invest in my staff, my team, my company, so that we can keep growing. And even with the slowdown in the market right now, we expect to continue to grow.
Wow. Okay, that's phenomenal. So we're gonna. And I want to hear about a little bit about that plan on how you're going to grow. During actually, we're going to lose, potentially $1 trillion worth of business. But I mean, you and I both know that there's going to be plenty of people that are still going to have like their best years are ahead of them. Talk to us a little bit about what is different from the assembly line style of originating to like traditional, processing format.
So the traditional processing, you have to hire an experienced processor. And during the peak time, it's extremely difficult to hire someone good to process your loan. It costs you a lot of money. It's extremely difficult to hire someone. Or if you want to hire someone new, it takes you at least 3 to 6 months to train that person to help you. But you don't have the luxury. You have a lot of loan coming in. How can you get things moving, right? So I switched to the assembly line. We break down the whole entire team. A few people we do setup, reviewing the application, make sure our document is there, and follow up with the borrower, make sure we have everything ready. And then we have the loan advisor will come in and review everything, make sure that the loan can be approved, make sure all the documents look good. Then we send it to the submission team. Submission team will submit the loan to the lender, the whole package. And then the condition team will come in and say, hey, I will take care of the condition. As soon as the loan is approved, it's in my job to work with the borrower to make sure the loan can clear all the conditions. Then we move it to the next step, which is closing. Closing, we look at, we'll take over and make sure customer, the file can be closed all the way to closing. So we build the assembly line. That way, there's no more bottleneck. If there's any bottleneck, I can go ahead and hire more people for that department. And it would be a lot easier for new staff to contribute because they learn only one thing. And after they learn for a week, they can contribute. They can jump in and help and make and contribute and get the loan moving. So with the assembly line model, I am able to scale to get loan moving. I don't have to run into bottleneck anymore.
Yeah. And now, like once, so let's say someone goes on the conditions team. You hire someone, you realize actually there's a little bit of a bottleneck on the conditions team. So you say, all right, we need to hire more people on conditions team. Now, if let's say actually, like, do people actually transitions from a, the conditions team to the closing team or the, submission team? Is it like the people move around between different areas?
That gives us the ability to move people around too. Let's say the closing team have extra resource or capacity. We move someone from that team to the condition team. That way we can manage resource better. We can we can hire more people. We can control our operation a lot better.
Wow. So I mean, if you were, let's say if you were going to do 5,000 loans traditional method, like how many people would you need? I mean, how many staff would it take for you to be able to
I would say double that, because I don't think anyone can close more than 20-25 loans a month unless you are a very good processor. So I need to double that workforce if I have to go with a traditional processing method.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So give me an idea. So your process, and by the way, so if you're just joining us now, Thuan is the largest originator in the country. Did 5,000 transactions last year. 2.2 billion. And so, what's it like in a normal year? Like on 2019, how many loans, so people understand, because last year was a little crazy. So what was 2019 looking like for you?
So the last 3 years, we triple our production every year. We just triple it every year. So you do the math. Over 3 years, I roll my production about 27 times. That is how
Wow.
fast I roll my production. Because not only that we have the luck that the rate dropped to the bottom, but
Yeah.
also I see I see the wave coming, and in the past I already have the experience. When the wave come, I know what to do. So when the wave come, I do something better than the last time. So I already have the experience. I'm dealing with the wave, the pre-finance wave. So let's say 5 years down the road, there's another wave coming in. I know exactly what I need to do to capture more business. I learned from the previous experience.
Interesting. So would you say actually that your 2011 or 2021 version of what you're doing is like improved than 2020? I mean, is your system improving? Okay.
Yes, we will improve. I work really hard to improve my system, my software. So we can only grow. There's nothing can stop us from growing.
Wow. That's fantastic. So, and by the way, if anyone's joining us and has questions for superstar originator, Thuan, please share. Now I'm curious. So your process is the way you described it. It's like it's very hands on for the borrower. The borrower actually feels like it sounds like they're engaged in the process. So what kind of borrower does that attract? Like who are the types, the personality types that seem to be attracted to this kind of a system?
The I would say more like younger generation, more younger borrower. They
Yeah.
know they are comfortable with technology. They can follow the instruction. They can fill out the application. They can upload documents. They can check the rate themselves. They can monitor the rate. They're comfortable with technology. And once people are comfortable with technology and they trust you, everything is easy. So the key here is not only have the technology, but also the trust. If they trust the system, they trust the company, then they will follow and they make your life easier. So we are not only build the technology, but we build the trust in the consumer. We give them the transparency. They are the one that do everything. They see everything, and they trust us. Just like when you go to a restaurant, if they allow you to cook or see what if you see the cook they cook your food, you enjoy it more. You see what are you eating, right? So they
Yeah.
see everything. So I build a system where the consumer they can see everything and they trust us, and that therefore not only them but their family, their friends will come back to us.
And then do they have the ability to kind of like raise their hand and say, "Listen, I don't know if I think I should lock, but I don't know if I should lock." Like do you give them like that ability? So tell me, how does that work? So let's say I'm a borrower, I'm in your system, and it comes, I get a rate that I think like, hey, that sounds good, but I don't know. How do I actually reach out, and what does that process look like?
Believe me, consumer nowadays, they are very tech savvy. They are very
Yeah.
savvy. They monitor the rate themselves. Actually, a lot of them are shopping around too. So they know. They are experienced. They know what rate they have now, what rate they want. So they are pretty savvy. They can make the decision themselves. Also, every single borrower, we have a dedicated loan advisor to help them, to give them advice. That way, they always feel that they can reach out to us if they have any question. We give them a feel of trust, and we're always available to help them.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty awesome. So can you think of are there any actually flaws in the system, or any things like that you see in the system that you see as things that you're trying to kind of figure out in the future?
Yeah, there's many things that I want to figure out. A few things that I want to do, two things I want to do is being able to connect to the lender and get the status, get the condition in real time and show it to the consumer.
Yes.
That's what I want. And then the second thing that I'm working on with my technology is to allow technology to read the document automatically and calculate the DTI automatically. Even allow the consumer to upload their documents, and then our software will fill out the application for them. They don't need to do anything. They just upload their documents, and boom, we
Uh-huh.
have the application done. They just
Yeah.
review it and make sure it's correct. So with technology, it will happen.
Yeah.
My predict is 1 year from now it will happen, and a lot of company will use artificial intelligence (AI) to read document, to reduce paperwork, to reduce error and mistake and problem, and that is the future.
Yeah.
Technology is the future, and if you don't have technology, you'll be out. You cannot compete at all.
Yep. Oh, agree, and being able to talk to those systems, like the lender systems, I think it's going to be a crucial thing. So now, which kind of makes me wonder, like, have you, like, what do you love about the mortgage broker model? Like, because you are actually, you're doing this. I believe you're 100% broker, right?
Yes, correct. I am 100% broker. And I love it because there's not risk. There's not much risk on my end. I just
Yeah.
do my job. I don't have to worry about risk of buying back, or I don't have to worry about a lot of different things. I just focus on helping the consumer. That is the best thing about being a broker. Plus, the pricing is so good. I mean, many other lenders out there cannot even compete against the pricing of a broker. So being a broker is the best thing.
Yeah, I listen. I'm as someone actually who grew up actually the son of a mortgage broker that's been around the mortgage broker. I am with you 100%. I love the mortgage broker model. But it almost, but when you talk about actually having control and then relying on these lenders to be able to kind of give you the thumbs up and to integrate with their systems. Obviously, if you're a banker, if you're the lender, you're able to kind of control that yourself, and you kind of control that process. So is that actually, does that ever cross your mind? Knowing actually that the trade-off. Okay, maybe I'm taking on more risk. But the more risk means I will have access to. I can make the decisions.
There's always a trade-off for everything. So
Yeah.
that's why I recommend for smaller broker, just be happy to be a broker. Focus on what you do well, with what is most important, which is bringing the customer and helping them, rather than worry about the risk. Just focus on bringing customer and be big. For example, look at my company, Loan Factory. Look at myself. I get focused on one thing: grow my company, bring in a lot of customer and helping them. That is the key. And once you are big, then you can do whatever you want, right? When you're small, don't try to do too many things. Don't try to be a lender when you are so small. Don't try to do multiple services. I know a lot of brokers do everything. They they do insurance, they do real estate, they do all kind of things, and that's what we should avoid. Focus on one thing. Be an expert, doing a good job, make sure customer like you, they trust you. Then at that point, you can have the world. You can have everything.
Yeah, well, so I agree. I like the idea of staying focused. So we just had a comment that just came from Sydney. I think I'm pronouncing your name right. Without technology, you cannot survive. Love it, Dawn. Which, by the way, like everyone's just like amazing, phenomenal. I mean, this is just great. People are just loving actually, like hearing your story. But so let me understand. In terms of actually technology. So obviously you built your system. Now, for in terms of all technology, what are your feelings of as far as build versus buy? Are there any actually things? Are there any actually services in your tech stack that you have actually bought? They just do such a good job that you're not intending to build it. Like, where does the build versus buy conversation come in for you?
That is a good question too. But I have the experience. I build my own software, so I know that it it is not easy. It's very painful. It might distract you from being a broker because building a good software is not easy nowadays. There's so much competition, and it costs a lot of money to build a good software. Think about building a good website, how difficult it is. Now you're talking about building a good mortgage system, a mortgage platform that can help you everything from CIM to POS to LOS, everything. It's a lot of work, and it's just lucky for me that 8 years ago when I started my business, there was no software out there to help me to process the loan, to track the progress. So I have to build something for myself to track the progress. And with my personality, I need to improve my system myself. So I keep improving the software, the system. And that's how I end up with a good system right now that allow me to close so many loans. But in general, I advise to stay away from building your own software unless you are a big company, unless you have at least 50 people in your company and you have the money and the resources to build a good system. Because otherwise, you build a system that's not so good, it's wasting money and time.
Yep, I totally understand that. So we just got a question came in from Michelle in the assembly form. How many departments do you have, and what LOS do you use? If it's one you've created, do you offer it? So talk to us a little bit about. I know you talked about the departments. If you could break down the departments again. And I believe your LOS, this is your technology is your LOS, right? Okay.
Yes,
We got
can you hear
back.
me? Yes.
Yeah, you froze there for a sec, but you're back. So yeah, so if you could can you tell us? I know you went over the departments before, but tell us the departments again. And as far as an LOS, you're not using an LOS. You've created your own LOS, right?
Correct. I create everything. I build a whole platform. I use everything. I build everything for myself. So for the assembly line, I have the setup team. The setup team to review, make sure application is complete, and all the documents are uploaded by the borrower. The setup team. We have a loan advisor to replace me to do all the communication with the borrower and make sure borrower is happy with the entire process. We have the submission processor. We have underwriting processor, and we have the closing processor. So we have 5 people in the assembly line helping with the borrower. 5 people in the assembly line helping the borrower. And of course, you build up the assembly line, but you need to have the technology to make it happen. Think about a factory, as an assembly line in a factory. You need the conveyor belt to move things along, right? You need to have something set up so that you can work in the assembly line. So we build our software to handle this. The loan will be moving from one department to the other without any communication. We don't need to even say, hey, I'm done, take it. Because think about 5,000 or 10,000 transactions. It's a lot of talking if we have to talk. We make it happen. We let it happen naturally. We don't need to even communicate. Yet when the loan come in, it's just moving along well to closing. That is the beauty of having the technology to help us.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. And you have you offer this software to like a mortgage broker can do the same, can plug into this software. You have this software for sale, right?
We currently stopped allowing broker to using it because we want to make right now we have about 40 brokers using our software, and we might open it up again for the broker to use it in the future. Yes.
Oh, that's so.
I want to share. You know what happened is I build a good software. I feel that it would be selfish to keep it to myself. It's so good, and I feel that I spend so much money building a good software. It's not right to keep it to myself. I want other people to use it, other broker to use it too.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to so I know we're talking about actually volume and maybe actually it's things can be sacrificed when you're doing that kind of volume. But it's definitely not being sacrificed in terms of customer support, because you have 5,100. Actually, the last time I looked at here, 5,100 5-star reviews, an average rating of 4.99. That is insane. It is
Yeah,
just
what happened is I pay my staff based on the review. If you get 5-star review, you get pay bonus extra. If you don't get 5-star review, something wrong, right?
yeah.
Why would the customer not happy when you help them? So we pay them by that, and then we have the technology to allow the consumer to give a 5-star review easily using text messaging. We text them, and say, "Hey, can you give us 5-star review?" It's so
Yep.
easy for them to tap on the text and type in their review. That's it. So easy, and that's how we can gather so many 5-star reviews.
That's awesome.
Technology.
It is phenomenal to hear your process, and we already have people actually saying when you have it again, when you have it ready again, please share it. So I was talking with Katie Jensen, who's on our editorial team. And we were talking about a little bit about some of the content you create. So you do these like educational talk shows. So can you talk a little bit about actually the talk shows? Have they been effective to generate business?
Yes, it is very effective. So I do a lot of talk show. I do like 10 talk shows a week in local radio TV station.
Wow.
So I try to educate the listener, the consumer, whenever something happens. I educate them about mortgage, what they should do, what they should not do. I educate them, how to prepare for mortgage, how to apply for pre-approval, how to shop around for a mortgage, how they should go with a 15 years fix instead of 30-year fix. So everything I know, I try to share, I try to explain, I try to communicate and educate the consumer. And that's how the consumer, they trust me and they come to me. So it's important to reach out to the community, reach out to the consumer, to educate them and build a trust, build a relationship with them.
Fantastic, and those shows provide that opportunity to kind of connect with them and educate. So, all right. So listen, we're going to talk about listen, next year we're potentially going to lose $1 trillion worth of business overall as an industry. But like you said, you have a plan to grow, and you're going to so we're going to take actually this from 5,000 transactions, 5,500 this year. Next year I'm gonna bet money that it's gonna still grow. But and most originators, because like you, have done a lot of refis. But the difference between a lot of originators and you is, I'm going to guess that you probably have a solid plan to continue to grow this business. Talk to us a little bit about your plan to build, build the business, which I'm assuming is going to be purchase focused.
Yes, I already laid the foundation to roll the company. I'm still hiring at this moment. We're still hiring. And what the plan is, we have license in many states. We plan to roll into many different states. The plan is to focus on the real estate agent. We are building the technology to allow us to work with real estate agent. We will refer them our client, and hopefully they will refer back their client. We will have the marketing in place. We have the technology in place to help them. We offer them, let's say, a website. Most real estate agents don't have a website. We offer them a website so that they can be present online. They can communicate with their clients. We will offer them a transaction coordinator. If we close transaction together, we will help you to do transaction coordinator for you. We help them with co-marketing. We helping them a lot that they cannot say no. And most importantly, the client that refer to us, they will have the very low rate and excellent service so that they can be happy. The goal of the real estate agent is to close the loan quickly and make sure customer is happy. So we will build relationship with realtor everywhere. And that is one of the plan that I have. Another plan is we will continue to go out there and hire loan originator to join the company to expand our footprint everywhere. So we have a lot of planning in place, and we plan to continue to grow.
Now, do you see actually when you are hiring an originator, because you're plugging into a system that's basically doing a lot of the heavy lifting? Are you looking for originators that are you feeding them the fish, or are you hiring originators to go out there and do their own fishing?
We will do both. We will do both. We learn a lot from the lender out there, the retail model. We do a lot of advertising to grow. We want to be good at everything. So we want to be good at the lender model, retail model. When we advertise, we do a lot of Google and Facebook advertising to bring in customers. That is the retail model, bring in the business, centralize the business. At the same time, we plan to expand our loan originator. Um, we will hire a lot of loan originators so that they can go out and bring in the business. So we'll try everything possible. We go look at all the company out there. Whoever do well, we will learn from them, and we try to do better than them. That is our goal.
Well, okay. Would you mind actually sharing some companies out there that you're amazed with, that you think that they're doing phenomenal things? I don't mean to put you on the spot like that, but you're a very transparent person, and I know actually I could ask you something like that, and you probably would be more willing to share that than most of the people that we talk to.
So to be honest with you, I look at a lot of company out there, and I see that most company, even successful company, they will they will contract it. They will lose money. You look at better.com, Home Point Financial, they're losing money now. Those
Yeah.
are the big mortgage company. They are growing fast in the past. Now they're losing money. So it's hard to name a company out there, the mortgage company out there that continue to grow and successful in this market. The market right now is pretty bad for mortgage. But I learned from their model, the model that they are successful. That is what I want to learn. Advertising, targeting consumer, or some model out there doing multi-level marketing. They grow so fast. After 2 3 years, they have 1,000 of loan originator. A lot of them are out there right now, and they are growing. So if I can learn from that model, plus my system, my software, my technology, my brand name, combined together, it will allow me to continue to grow, and that's what I believe in.
That's phenomenal. I'm excited. I'm excited about the future for you guys, and continue to watch it. Got one last question, and then we'll let you go, because I'm sure you've got some loans to originate. So, what would you say your best advice was? Thought someone like this pandemic went through keeps things running. So basically, like advice to give someone actually, on what to do, like through this pandemic, how to get through this, like a lot of us did.
So my advice, there are a lot of new originator joining the industry, and the pie is smaller now with the rate is going up. So the competition gonna be cutthroat. It's gonna be really bad. So my advice is to focus on what you are good at, and try to get better. So if you're good at customer service, you just focus on what you're good at and stick to that, and build and grow from it. Don't try to do new thing if you're not strong enough. Don't try to be everything. Don't try to beat the big guy out there. Just know your position, know your strength, and continue to. Your learning is important. Make sure you and your staff and your company are learning. Your system is getting better and better. System or technology is important. So just focus on yourself, and the goal is to help the consumer. Helping your client is very important. And don't try to be greedy. The profit margin gonna be smaller and smaller. So be ready for a period of time that you cannot make money. That's what happened to every company out there. when the rate go up, expect that you will lose some money, and that is normal. You have to weather the storm so that the next wave come, you can roll, you can be bigger.
That's fantastic. I love it. Fantastic. Yeah, training is key. Constantly improving. I mean, this is something. Here actually, you think actually that you reach 5,500 transactions. You'd think actually you'd be like you'd make it, but no, you never stop. Always keep improving. Fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to join with us today and tell your amazing story.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I'm free. Anyone want to reach out to me for advice? I'm always available. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. And thank you for joining us for another Mortgage Leadership Outlook, where we go live every Wednesday with the greatest leaders in the mortgage industry. Everyone, thank you for joining us for today. I really appreciate it. And everyone, have a great day, and hope you're having a great October.